Hello, dear students. Our day's topic is multiplication of integers, and I will be discussing about the some rules for multiplication of integers. The first rule for multiplication of integers is that when you multiply two integers having the same sign, whether it be plus or minus, the product will always be positive sign. Rule number two. Rule number two states that while multiplying two integers having opposite signs, that is, one having positive sign, the other having negative sign, the product of the numbers will always have a negative sign. Moving on to the third rule states that if a series of integers, that is more than two integers, are multiplied, we'll have to count the number of negative signs. If it happens to be odd, the product will bear a negative sign, and if the number of negative signs is even, the product will be positive. I will show you some examples for the rules of integers. Okay, let's start with the first rule. The first rule states that when we multiply two integers having the same sign, the product will have a positive sign. So let's start with the first rule. Now, example, let us multiply 6 and 7. In this case, both 6 and 7 bears a positive sign. So the sign of the product, that is 6 into 7, is 42. So the product will bear a positive sign. So similarly, question number B, multiply minus 8 and minus 9. Both have negative sign, that is minus 8 and minus 9. So the product will be minus 8 into minus 9 equals to 72. Since both 8 and 9 have negative sign, the product also will have a positive sign. Now moving on to rule number 2. Rule number 2 states that when we multiply integers having opposite signs, the product will also bear a negative sign. So in this case, minus 10 multiplied by 12, the result is 1, 2, 0. And as for the sign, it will bear negative sign because they have opposite signs. Similarly, when we multiply 13 into minus 9, the product is 117. 13 is positive sign, 9 has negative sign, so opposite signs, so that is why 117 will bear a negative sign. So moving on to rule number 3. Rule number 3 states that if we multiply a series of integers, what we have to do is we have to count the number of negative signs. In this case, multiply minus 2 plus 3 minus 4 plus 5 and minus 6. So minus 2 into 3 into minus 4 into 5 into minus 6. Now the product is 2 into 3 into minus 4 into 5 into minus 6 is 720. Now let us count the number of negative signs. 1, 2, and 3. That is minus 2, minus 4, and minus 6. That means there are 3 negative signs, which is odd. So the product will bear minus sign. So next example is, let us multiply 7 into minus 8 into 9 into 10 into minus 11. Now the product of 7 into minus 8 into 9 into 10 into minus 11 is 55,440. So now let us count the number of negative integers. Here we have minus 8 and minus 2. That means 2 negative integers, which is even. So the product will be bear plus sign. As for your assignment, dear students, please solve exercise 1.3, question number 1, A, B, C, and D, and E of page number 16.